What is up, good people? Today we have Arthur of Bad Bitches and Power Pitches. Y'all all know that commercial. Is you a bad bitch? Is you a bad? I'm just saying, Precious. When I did that commercial, I'm like, I could low key be a mumble rapper. You know what I mean? Like,
I
but
loved it because you got it. You absolutely captured the essence of what it means to be a bad bitch. It is not this thing of just telling women to be fake or anything like that. Listen, I'm not built like an insta thotty. I'm not built like some of these people, but you can still believe wholeheartedly in yourself and show people what's really possible. You know what I mean? And in order to do that, you have to have the confidence and everything like that. And so that book is really written for those who are unapologetic, who are tired of people always telling you what to do that they will never do, that will never show up and be who they're supposed to be. So I want women, especially, I'm 41. They tell women my age and we've hit a wall. We're expired. We're all these sort of things. And my thing is, you don't get to tell me that I've expired. This is my second act. And I'm about to run circles around a lot of people who've given up or who feel like they can't. And so that's why, writing Bad Bitches and Power Pitches was fun, scary. So many people told me no one would buy it, as I told you before. And the truth of the matter is they did in droves.
Yeah, just like when I brought you on the show, and the people they love the message that you really the message that you preach, because you live it and you preach it, which is always nice. And so we're going to talk about your newest projects coming up. But before we get into that, I did want to hop into what the title of the video is: how to be your most authentic self. Okay. When people are out here and they're looking for jobs or they want to start a business, because of COVID took a lot of people out. And they're starting new ventures. One of the biggest things I believe that holds them back is a lack of self-confidence, because they've never been able to be their most authentic selves. You told, okay, you got to have a certain name or you can't be in corporate. Then you told, okay, well, you can be in corporate now, but now you have to dress a certain way. You can't use certain colloquialisms. You can't. It's just. It's
a constant. Yeah. You're never going to be good enough. It's a constant. You're not quite good enough as a Black woman or as a woman or as a Black man or a person of color. You're never good enough. So you constantly feel like you're on this journey that you never started. You never put yourself in, and everybody wants you to fit into a certain box. And that's why I'm so glad we're talking about this today. I'm a former attorney. Storm, did you know that I'm a former attorney?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I'm a former attorney in the great state of New York. I passed the New York State bar on my first try, and I remember one of the deans of my law school, and I love my law school, said to me, "Oh, your grades weren't great in your first year, so you might not pass the bar." So when I passed the New York State bar, I went up to the school. Congratulations, I did that.
Yeah.
Like, your thoughts about what God has given me has no bearing on me. You can think a lot of people aren't capable of things. And as an attorney, yes, I've been in situations where I wore hot pink, hot purple suits. I was ridiculous because I was always different. And people were like, well, maybe you should wear black and maybe you should do this and maybe you should. And I'm like, you keep trying to fit me into something you don't even fit into. Like, I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with the connections. I have connections today because I built that by having the gift of speech. Yes. So I can talk my way into any situation. Remember that line from Jay-Z? He said, show them how to move through a room full of vultures. The industry's shady. It needs to be taken over. That's a real line. And that's something that we, as people of color, or anybody will feel like we're constantly moving through people, making judgments about your money situation, making judgments about the schools you went to, making judgments about all these sort of things. And I'm like, you can believe that all you want, or you can choose to stand out and create your own lane. Right? When I was on your show the last time, some people went in about my lipstick and stuff like that. All of that is great and wonderful. You can keep coming at me, but I'm here talking to you and you're watching me.
Right.
So I don't know your name, but you know mine. So we can play this game all day long. It's like when you start making it up this food chain, people feel entitled to tell you what's all wrong with you without telling you what's right. Like you, Storm, I've defied every odd anyone has ever placed before me.
Yes.
That I'm too dark, I'm too this, I'm too that. I don't like your wig. I don't listen. If I was doing it for you, I would never make you happy. I do this to the glory of God, who placed me with the gift of speech. Have I been told, well, Precious, maybe if you sound like this and that? Did that stop Microsoft, LinkedIn, Google, Federal Reserve Bank, NBC Universal? Did that stop George Washington University from working with me? Not at all. Why? Because I created my own lane and took something that people only thought certain people could do, only white men could do. And when I crushed it on stage 13 out of 14 times, talking about a lingerie company for full figure divas and plus size fashionistas, and they're just kind of like, well, he has a tech company. He has this. They went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and Columbia. I'm like, I don't care where they went to. When it comes to being on this stage, this is my playground.
Yes.
And I'm welcoming you in. So
And
you
you
want
own
to play
it.
with me? Come meet me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Tell me, Precious, wake up. You got a pitch thing to do. No problem. I'm ready. I stay,
Yeah.
as the great Dr. Sherrell Wood says, be ready so you don't have to get ready. So I stay ready.
And I love that, because I think another thing too in life we have to learn is to own. Man, you gotta own your own lane. You know,
You
like
really do.
if you are a teacher, own being a teacher. If you are a chef, own that. Like, don't try to compare your life to anyone else. And so I don't want them to forget that you do have a new book coming out.
Yes, I do.
And so let me share the screen real quick so we can actually get into it there.
Oh, that's
Boom.
the other one. Yes. And so my third book is called Pitching for Profit, the Bad Bitches Playbook for Turning Conversations into Currency. And the reason why this book is, this is my third book. And as some of you don't know, my lucky numbers are 3 and 33.
Mm.
And so this is my third book, right? In a lot of competitions, I was number 3. And I always knew, I said, if I'm 3, it's a wrap. I'm going to kill the game today, right? I'm 33 HKO1. I'm a Delta from Spelman College. That's my line number. When I came to New York, I was on the 33rd PATH train. Like, so it's always been in my life. My grandmother was born in 1933. The 33rd president of the United States is Harry S. Truman from Ware, Missouri. So this being my third book, it's taking pitching to the next level. So even Storm, if I ask you this question, wouldn't you like, and you already had this, but wouldn't you like to have people constantly bringing you up in spaces you've never been in? Wouldn't you like referrals to be on deck? Wouldn't you like people to be coming to you to be your affiliate, selling your products, just being around you? Wouldn't you like to monetize your network? It's
Yeah.
great to have the pitch. And that's why my first 2 books are really about showing you how to perfect your pitch, right? These 2 are all about showing you how to perfect your pitch, right? Bad Bitches Empower Pitches for Women Entrepreneurs and Speakers Only. And then the workbook actually takes you through actual exercises to create the perfect pitches for you. But when we get into pitching for profit, now it's time to show you, now that you have that, how do you start getting into the circles you've always wanted to get into?
Mm.
How do you get into certain networks that people keep telling you don't deserve to be in? And that's why this year I started off by saying I'm changing networks. I'm not going to be limited by people who dictate to me how I can fly. Some of our own people don't have access to some of the resources that you really need to really take off. So what networks do you need to be in? What do you need to say to be in those networks? How do you keep people in those networks interested in you? By creating your own lane and making yourself the only like resource in that, right? And so once you have that, the world is truly your oyster. That's how I get these big companies. That's how my name gets spoken in certain circles. That's how the government bought my books. That's how all these big companies started buying my books. They weren't looking at it as some people, I don't want to be called a bitch. They didn't even care about it. They were like, oh, she's a 13-time national champion. She's been on Shark Tank, CNN. She's been on Forbes. That's not normal.
Look, it's not normal for what society says you should be.
Right. As a
It's,
Black woman with no
yeah.
Ivy League degree, I went to Spelman College. I'm so proud. That's my Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and Columbia. I graduated from Rutgers School of Law, passed the bar, did my thing until I couldn't do it anymore. So at the end of the day, when you're talking about pitching for profit, the Bad Bitches Playbook, think about it like we're all playing sports. So think about it like a football huddle. I am your coach. Let's get in the huddle. I'm gonna teach you, okay, so I'm gonna run the play. If this happens, let me show you what you need to do. When you're in a situation, this is how you need to, this is how you run this pitch. This is how you break into that thing. This is how you do this. So think about it as like, come in the huddle. The coach is ready.
Mm-hmm.
So we've studied what our competition has done. And when they go here, this is what you do. Like, we're running real plays in real time. So you're never stuck anymore. Just having a pitch is that's the starting point. But now run the play.
I love that. I love that. I do. And for everybody that's watching, guys, before we started the show, I did tell Precious that I am personally gonna read your first book. Because I didn't know if it was for men, but you said anybody can read it and they can benefit from it. So I'm gonna read it, and by the time I'm through, I guess I'll be a bad bitch with a power bitch.
Yes, it's so. Like I said, this is great and this is wonderful. And like I said, men can benefit. I don't want men to think that they couldn't. You can actually benefit from this. It's just written more towards women because they may lack the confidence. They got everything, but lack the confidence to really get out there. And I find that men, and you can see this in real time. You ever seen, like, not the cutest man be trying to mac on the prettiest woman, and like, you ain't got no chance, but you can't tell them that because they see themselves differently. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do. She may be having a she may be having a low self-esteem moment, and this is my time to get in.
I ain't gonna lie though, low key the trick is catching right after a bad breakup. Right after. That's
and
the
trust
trick.
me, you even see it with celebrity women, right? There's a lot of women right now writing a whole bunch of bad stuff online, and it's like, listen, people can catch you at bad, low moments, and that's their playground. Like, okay, you know what, she feeling good today. Well, I'm gonna catch her when she just lost the job or lost the thing. That's when I slide right in. That's why I tell you, pitching for profits. How do you read a room? How do you read a room?
And read the energy in a room when you come in
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I need to know that because even it's so funny too because when I was little I used to hear people say, "Oh, you can be a motivational speaker one day," and I didn't ever really think that was a thing. And then I'm just like, "Well, damn, I probably should have did that." I know what they make now when they go to seminars. I'm like, I missed the boat. Anyway, I can still do it, but
yes, you
the
can
thing
still do
about
it.
it is that when you watch somebody give a speech, they even shift it as like the energy in the like they match the energy in the room. When you watch, they know how to control. Like when you were on stage, you in front of the camera, you in front of the mic, whatever. You control it. You set the tone, and I know it's all in your book, the technical ways of learning how to do that. I can't wait.
Yeah, there's definitely the technical ways, but also, I've been doing this 25 years since I was 16 years old. So I've never been taught by someone telling, and I've, gone to, I only went to Toastmasters one day because a girlfriend had invited me and I won the table talk competition. But even in that, I was like, some of us are so natural at what we do.
Yes.
That people putting structure on who I am. It's like, oh, well, you say it like this. I'm like, I'm already where you want to be. So
let me give you a good story about that. And I might not like
run it.
I might not like everything he do, but Steve, that happened to Steve Harvey too. When he was on what was that show with Cedric the Entertainer? The Steve Harvey Show.
Right.
Anyway, they wanted him. They didn't like the fact that he said ain't and all of like the slang. He didn't really talk proper English. And so an English teacher, the studio hired an English teacher, and she was like, I just don't think you're gonna make it far in life saying things like ain't and ain't was and ain't is. And he said, well, let me ask you, what sounds better? I ain't a millionaire or I ain't poor. Like
okay.
She never came back to teach him another lesson. But it's just, and when you said that made me think of like, when people look, when you sell yourself, people like you for you. They're for you. You don't have to change anything. They said, is your book on Audible?
Not yet. I think that question came up the last time. It's not on Audible just yet, but it is coming next year.
Nice.
Well, and I'll actually narrate it because some of my friends who actually had the nerve to buy it because they were like, you know what, Precious, I just love you. I got support and everything. I was like, thank you. And they were like, they literally heard me speaking to them because, I have a certain way, a certain cadence. So they're like, I heard you speaking to me. And I was like, wow, you really know your craft. It's like, we see what you do, but it's another thing to hear it out in your own words that you wrote that book. It wasn't ghostwritten. You really wrote the book.
Exactly. That's beautiful. They said not yet, but the book is a quick read. That I love that.
It
I
is a
love
quick read. It is a quick read, and it's really about teaching you the 7 branding personas in pitching, right? So going from unstoppable to being an unstoppable person to being like a numbers person. What rules you when you start speaking? What do people really identify with you? And once you start to learn that, you take the second book and start actually creating pitches based on different prompts that fit your brand, your business. You know what I mean? And so once you start, so most people thought when they were going to read it, it was like, oh, this is a formula, and that's what you'll learn. Even with you on YouTube, people always say to you, "Give me the formula. How do I get to all the followers you have?" And it's like it's art and a science to it. Even if you told them everything, they still need to digest it for themselves and make it their own, right?
yes.
So
Yes.
how many people can be bad bitches with power pitches? That's Precious, and that's her tribe. But it's not for everyone. And to the people who really believe that this is a book where all I do is curse through it, it is not. That's
No.
just the title. And it is a way of showing, like, when people, like, here's another thing. There was a book called Go to F to Sleep. There is another book by another person who looks nothing like me. So there's a lot of books about business that have curse words in the title. I have never seen anybody say, that's just not ladylike, and that's just but you're clocking me because you want me to fit this narrative. And I
Yeah.
have never. I came from poverty. I came from homelessness. I came from addiction. I'm not even supposed to be where I am today. And you want me to fit into rules that you can't even fit into, but it makes you feel good to go in on me. And at the end of the day, I run a successful and thriving business. And you like people, if you look at all the greats in any realm, they were different. They didn't follow this
Oh
rule
God. No, they
that
didn't.
people who have never made it want them to follow.
No, they did.
So think about that.
Not only were they different, they failed and fell on their face so many times. And it's really the only difference is they didn't give up.
No, they did not give up. And here's another thing. You can't do epic shit with basic people. If you want to do the basic stuff, that's you. But I'm doing something epic. And to do it epic means that there was no blueprint for it. So, even if you want to throw out the Tesla guy, if you want to throw out Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, I also want to think about, the founder of Black Enterprise. I want to think about the woman who started the honey pot. Let's start throwing out Black examples of people who actually did it too. And
Yes.
remember, they didn't have a garage to start out of. Some of them literally were cooking it up in a crock pot.
Yeah,
And
literally.
or you think of Carol's daughter, like being in the kitchen doing that. Their stories are just as valid. You just don't hear about them because it always sounds better in the garage, tech and stuff like that. Some people didn't have that background, so they used the best of what they had. I literally only had a voice, and that voice was almost stomped out and almost killed by my mother and my father. The only reason I'm alive is because my grandmother, Precious Dolores Williams, the most beautiful woman in the world, told me that one day Oprah's gonna know my name. I'm gonna be speaking to presidents. I'm gonna be speaking on the world's greatest stages. Now, in the natural, as Joel Osteen always says, in the natural, it didn't make sense. But to my grandmother, she saw me through supernatural eyes, and she said, "This will happen." And I promise you, everything she said is coming to pass now.
Amen. Amen. And now you're having like a bundle special, right?
I am. I hope you can put the link in there. So I have a 3 course video training course, and it's called Pitch Slap. Yeah, I know how I like to do things with pitch, pitch and bitch, whatever. Pitch Slap. And in this 3 video training series, you'll get pitching with confidence. So if you've never even figured out how to start pitching, we're going to talk about confidence and building up your confidence. We're going to have perfecting your pitch. So even if you already have something, this is going to give you tips to take it into overdrive. And then we have Pitch Please, the art of successfully pitching anything. So you get all 3 courses for $47. And if you think you're not learning from the best, you're learning from Precious Williams, a 13-time national champion, national elevator pitch champion, been on all of those great shows around the world, movies, documentaries, and I'm still here. In fact, Storm, I didn't want to tell him this, but I'll tell him. Yes,
Tell them.
thank you, Storm. I am now going to be a corporate trainer at a major magazine for their new pilot program. And yeah, I didn't want to address the issue, but sometimes you got to flex because people swear up and down you lie. Check me out. I am in talks for my own television show. So I plays no games. How did I get here? I'm still that girl that 2-3 years ago was homeless. And I use everything in my books to take me out of all of that. So if you want to learn the secrets, the true secrets to pitching that are more than a Google search, you want to learn from the best, get my Pitch Slap course. It's $47. And I'll be so honored if you do.
And look at these testimonials here. Dr. Natasha Anderson.
Natasha! Yes.
She said, I've never had a mentor before. Precious is my first, and I'm so happy I made the decision to have Precious in my life. She has changed my game and raised my game.
Oh, and by the way, she didn't start speaking before. Now she's up for Women Tech Speaker of the Year. Women Tech, she just launched her first big book. Like, listen, I work with the best clients. Wow. The best. Go, Dr. Tasha.
Renee said, I hosted a LinkedIn local where Precious was the main speaker. I found her extremely insightful and held everyone's attention. She was well received by everyone in attendance. I highly recommend her. Tiffany said, Precious went above and beyond to help me craft an amazing pitch. I am so grateful for her. You know what? You know what? Yeah. You did. Yeah. You getting your television show. Yeah.
Definitely, but I do want to say this about Renee. Renee invited me to speak at her LinkedIn local event, and I thought it was going to be all women. Do you know who showed up?
Who?
95% Jewish men, because she's Jewish, right? This is my girl, right? And I was looking at her like, Renee, they might not get it, and she's like, you do your thing. And so I started pitching and teaching and training. When I tell you, I started to offer my book for sale. The men got in line to buy it. Wow. They were buying 2, 3, 4. They were like, for my wife, my daughter. But and Renee said, you don't know how great you are, but your friends do. She said, so you worried about, oh, well, men. She said, you've spoken to men since you were 16 years old. She said, you taught them something they did not know. So when you were asking a question about the men, it doesn't matter what type of man you are. It really doesn't. If these Jewish men saw the value, wrote great testimonials for me, that tells you I'm not just a woman speaker. Don't limit me. I can speak to any audience, and that's why the big companies call on me.
I love that. Slippin said, I bet she's a Leo or Aquarius. I don't know.
I am an Aquarius.
How did they pull that out?
I don't know how they knew, but I am an Aquarius. January 22nd, that's my birthday.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious.
Definitely. And so Storm, I thank you so much because you are making a way for your sponsors to really access people they normally don't have around. Because of you, in 3 weeks, I sold over 800 books.
Oh,
so you may not know that, so I'm gonna put you on blast. That is the power of Storm Monroe. I ain't saying it's gonna happen for everybody, but I'm gonna say for me, you did a hashtag shock and awe. That one, when people were going in, like, so I went back and watched and looked at some of the comments. The very people who were, saying with their stuff were nothing in comparison to the people who were buying the book. Like, I don't care what you say, she about that life. And that's another thing I want people to understand about transparency and authenticity, because people don't always experience it. They don't know how to deal with it when they see it. Dang. If you want an Insta thotty, if you want a perfect looking woman from head to toe, I need you to go find her first in the natural, not with cut up, not with Facetune. Find her. But it takes a lot for a Storm to get out here and do what he does and have people come into him. It takes a lot that y'all don't see behind the scenes. And because I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you, there are things that we do behind the scenes that would scare most people because they're too afraid to put themselves out there. When you put yourself out there, people are going to ridicule, talk about you and stuff like that. You just got to keep moving. And remember, they know your name. You do not know theirs. Absolutely. Remember that.
Absolutely. And that was something that took me a little time to get, because I'm like, I took it so literally. And then I had to say, well, wait a minute. People have been talking bad about Beyonce for the longest, and it ain't stopped the bag. They say what they say about Jay-Z. It ain't stopped the bag. They talk about, like, people talk about everybody. People talk, but they saying your name. So that's all that
They're
matters.
saying your name, and the very people who tell you not to judge other people are quick to do it to you, especially if you don't fit the narrow thing that they think a black woman, a black man, a person of color can do. And it's like, I'm just as talented. I'm just as uber talented as any of these people you see on CNBC or anything like that. The only difference is I have color. I have melanin magic. And sometimes that threatens people. But that doesn't mean it has to stop me. God placed me on this earth to free other people from this need to fit into a box that does not fit us. We are not in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We are into 2020 and in the midst of a pandemic, an economic downturn, social unrest. While some people decided to shrink away, you know what Storm decided to do? He said, I'm going in. Every day I'm going in. And just like me, every day I go in 4-5
Yeah.
times a day. You post too much. Why are you watching?
Yep. Why would I not post my stuff?
So that's what it means to be a bad bitch with a power pitch. As long as you stay visible, give great content, and really showcase the brilliance that you have, and keep doing it. There will be those who will hate, naysayers. They've never seen it done before. So when you're doing the impossible, there will be so much that will come up against you. But the only reason you know Beyonce, the only reason you know a Jay-Z, the only reason you know Black Enterprise, the only reason you know of Essence magazine is because they did something that most people were too afraid to do and were told were impossible. And they did it anyway. So understand the people are going to come for you. Storm probably gets it in his inbox all day, every day, just like I do. And
Yes.
yet I have to trust that I'm on the path. I'm in alignment with what God says. And being a bad bitch with a power pitch means I'm unapologetically me. And I will never stop and I will never quit, as that's lining with homie, I'm a shine until my heart stops. NV me. I'm pitches MVP and I ain't going nowhere. So you should get to know me.
You know what? I love it. You know what? I'm gonna leave that there. Let's give them a minute if they have any questions here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna actually put in the link here just in case they want to just ask a quick question.
Okay.
We'll give them a few, and then that was it. It's a good show today.
Yes, most definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah. Precious is preaching. Oh, she preaching. She preaching. She preaching for sure.
And also, for those of you who don't know about how great it is to work with Storm Monroe, I promise you, it is an electric experience, and he is a man of his word. And you don't get that a lot in business. He is a man of his word, and that's why I will continue to support him.
Amen. I tell you, because a lot of people are not.
What?
I don't care to be known, but I know I have a greater purpose.
That's good.
Okay. How do I become a speaker? Well, you get bad bitches and power pitches.
Get the book, Bad Bitches and Power Pitches for Women Entrepreneurs and Speakers Only, and it walks you through that process. Also, my website is www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com, and I work one-on-one with clients to teach them how to create their own speaking platform. So no matter what industry you're in, you still need to create your own lane in that industry, and you also need to set a solid foundation for yourself before you just decide, I just want to get paid for everything. We have to set a solid foundation. We have to get you visible and known by the right people. So it is a process just like everything else in life. Yes. So I can definitely help you.
Layla Rue said, how do you make sure fear doesn't stop you?
That is such a great question. And the only thing I can say, and I'm not sure Storm will agree, is you just have to keep pressing forward. I'm a woman who let the fear of success stop me for so many years. And so I would do everything to sabotage. I would drink. I would not show up, because I was afraid of the very things that are happening today. But the benefits of success truly outweigh the negatives. It really, really does, right? So keep moving forward and have someone hold you accountable. If you know you're supposed to be doing something, that person needs to be on speed dial. Like, you said last week that this is what you was gonna do. Have you done it? Please don't make me show up at your house in this COVID era and get at you.
Sometimes you gotta FaceTime somebody like, did you do what you said you was gonna do? Yeah.
And if you say you want accountability, I'm gonna need you to be about that life. So I may give you one time, 2 times, I'm out because I'm not playing with you. No one plays with me at this level, so I'm not gonna play with you.
I love that. As said, dang, I feel inspired. You should.
Thank
But
you, Queen. I
but
feel
after,
inspired too.
but after inspiration, I believe comes discipline.
Action.
That's the next part. After inspiration comes discipline.
Yes.
Tico said I'm about to go read the first book. Good.
Thank you.
Good. Well, Precious, I'm going to say this. Wow, we literally hit exactly what my goal was. 29 minutes, 9 seconds. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. I believe in what you do. I believe in your story. And I mean, I give props to myself because you sold 800 books. I'm just saying. But no, but no, honestly though, I just love your story. And so I can't wait until we do this again next Sunday and talk about another topic. You are always welcome here. Let them know what your social media is so they can go and follow you.
Okay, so on Facebook, I am at Perfect Pitch P. On Twitter, twitter.com/Perfect Pitch P. On Instagram, I am Instagram.com/Perfect Pitches P. And am I missing Facebook? Oh, LinkedIn, I am Precious L. Williams, Killer Pitch Master. And if you want to look at me on YouTube, I am Precious L. Williams.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Precious. You have a good Sunday, and I will speak to you later.
Thank you.